What's up, guys, and welcome to our Clone Wars chronological rewatch. This week we're looking at The Ghosts of Mortis, the final episode in the Mortis arc, and then we're getting back to like some normal stuff. Not all this metaphysical, crazy, like hard to understand stuff, but I like it. I like talking about it.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride, but it's like kind of refreshing now that we get to the final episode of the arc. It's been a refreshing wild ride.
Yeah, it's just something different, and I've always said like I like it when Star Wars goes weird and different, and this is definitely that. It's something I hope to see more of in the future. But we start off with our heroes trying to fix their ship, and that's taking too long. So Anakin decides to go back to the father because he's like, I can't live with myself if we just leave Mortis in complete chaos.
Yeah, because there could be some serious repercussions leaving the planet like that.
Yeah. So he heads back and ultimately winds up going to see the sun. And this is like one of my favorite scenes in the Clone Wars. It gives me chills every time the sun gives him a vision of the future. And we see that hazy image of Darth Vader and everything that Anakin will do.
We hear the breath.
We hear the breath. We hear the Imperial March. Like, I'm getting chills thinking about it right now. It's a great, great scene.
We see a bit of Obi-Wan, I believe.
Yeah, I think he does the "You Were My Brother."
Yeah.
We see him ignite a lightsaber against a youngling. Like, it's pretty dark. So Anakin is terrified that he's going to do all these things. And so the sun convinces him to fall to the dark side to avoid doing all these terrible things.
So he goes to the dark side to prevent going to the dark side.
Yes. I don't think he sees it that way, but yes, that is what happens. I think he sees it as, okay, I'll go to the dark side so I don't do all that other stuff. But of course, he would wind up doing all kinds of other terrible things.
Typical Anakin logic.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because he falls to the dark side in Mortis for the same basic reason that he falls to the dark side in Revenge of the Sith, and it's fear. In Episode 3, he's afraid of losing Padme, and he'll do anything to stop that. Here, he's afraid of doing all these terrible things, and so he'll do anything to not do those things. Not the most logical choice, but like... That's what he does. It's how you push Anakin over the edge, is you just make him afraid.
The dark side is definitely more seductive, and we see how easily that is proven in this episode.
Yeah. So he then goes to try to... their plan is to just escape together and go bring peace and order to the galaxy and all that stuff that dark side people always say they want to do. And it's Obi-Wan and Ahsoka's job to keep Anakin around. Fortunately, he doesn't really stay in that state very long. The father catches up and he's like, what did my son do? And just,
once again.
Yeah, just erases his memory.
Yeah, he's like, I gotta take these memories away from you or else this story's over.
Yeah. Well, something interesting about the father is that he is very much about free will. And like he wasn't going to force Anakin to become his replacement, and he wants Anakin to be able to make his choices without the interference of some higher being.
Yeah, and those visions were forced upon him.
Yeah. So
no pun intended.
Yeah, he takes all those memories away, and then it's all about the final showdown between the son and the father, really. But Obi-Wan and Ahsoka and Anakin are also there. It's like. I like how throughout these episodes they keep attacking them with lightsabers, and it's like, It didn't work the first time. It's not going to work this time. They can just block him with their hands.
Yeah, we literally see the father like grab it and like move it out of the way. It's like, you want to keep trying that?
Yeah. But the fight concludes with the father stabbing himself, which is like what the son has been after this whole time. And just like when the daughter died, he is like overcome with grief. The son's a really interesting character, but yeah, he hugs his dad, asks him why, And I guess that was all a ploy to get the son close to let his guard down so that this time a lightsaber does kill him.
Yeah, it's weird how that works.
I would guess that they have to use the Force to deflect a lightsaber.
Yeah, either that or like because of the death of the father, the son is mortal.
Maybe, yeah, I could see that too. That weakening him. I guess in my mind, it's more of a like he's thrown completely out of balance. Like he's overcome with grief. He's not centered at all, and that leaves him vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, it's who knows at this point how these people work.
Yeah, like watching this, I was like, oh, well, that's ultimately what the son wanted, but then he's like, no.
Yeah. I was surprised. Like, and I've seen these episodes many times, and I'm still surprised when he's just like, what have you done?
It's like, I wanted to do that.
Yeah, I guess. But with all of the Force wielders dead, that allows Anakin and Ahsoka and Obi-Wan to finally return to their real world with the shuttle intact and everything. Like, the Mortis Citadel comes tumbling down, and we just flash back to like a Wizard of Oz almost style.
Yeah, they all just like wake up in the ship and talk to one of the clones. I forget which one, but Rex, yeah. So Rex is like, or they said, sorry about being gone for so long, and Rex is like, what do you mean, sir?
He's like, yeah, we lost you for a few moments, and Anakin's like, we've been gone for a long time. Like, explain yourself.
It is very Wizard of Oz. It's
and you were there, and you were there. It's at this point, it's kind of ambiguous as to whether or not this really happened, but they do reference it later in the show. So, like, I think people like Yoda would know who the Force wielders are, or at least recognize them from their old texts and stuff. And I think Anakin even said that he'd heard about them.
Wouldn't you think that immediately after getting back from this trip, all three of them would like go to Yoda or someone like who's been around for a long time and be like, so this happened.
Yeah, explain this, little man.
Little man.
The theme for this episode is he who seeks to control fate will never find peace. And like the past two episodes, like this one is still all about Anakin because that's kind of his thing. He wants to control the future, and the big one is Padme.
Well, same for the son. This whole time he's been wanting to control fate and
get out of where he is meant to be.
Yeah. And he ultimately...
Yeah, he's meant to be in Mortis, and his desire to leave causes him constant pain.
Mm-hmm.
But Anakin wants to control death, and death is inevitable for everyone. And if you're trying to stop that, like, there's no peace to be found there. There's only pain. You're only going to let yourself down, especially if you have magical Force abilities. I feel like most people don't go seeking immortality through the Force. Probably just Jedi and fallen Jedi and Sith and stuff.
Yeah. Everybody else is just kind of stuck with death being a normal thing.
Yeah. But I mean, denial is part of the stages of grief, so
yeah,
there is an element of that. But I think that brings us to the end of the Mortis arc, although I did want to talk about the famous deleted scene with Darth's Bane and Revan. They got so far as to like make models for them, and they were planning on putting them in the show, and they were going to be counseling the son. But then they decided that the son wouldn't really take counsel from Sith because he's kind of above that. He's not a Jedi, he's not a Sith, and I would say he's probably stronger than all of them.
Yeah, and it would have been difficult and awkward to introduce two new Sith at this point in the story and still have Palpatine be the ultimate bad guy.
Well, they would have been... I think the big blocker was that they were going to be ghosts. And that's like a... Sith can't do that. That's a no-no for them.
Yeah.
But it also could have been like kind of an illusion, or because Mortis is so strong in the Force.
Yeah.
Like, there's ways to get around it.
Yeah.
But I think George Lucas didn't want the son to take advice from Sith Lords, and he probably just didn't want to touch that side of things. But it is cool to think about just two big old like Legends Sith Lords. They were that close. And technically they're canon now, but we would have seen them.
Yeah.
That would have been cool. But that's it for the Mortis arc. So thank you guys for joining us on this wacky adventure.
Let us know in the comments what you think of this arc in general. If you liked it, if you think it's a little too nutty for Star Wars.
I think it's the right amount of nutty.
Yeah.
If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel.
Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
And consider checking out our Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.